Okay, hi. Today I'm going to go through setting up a mix template, and I'm going to show you how what my template looks like. Obviously, you can do what you want with it, but I'm just going to run you through the way that I do things. Okay, so I have a blank project here. And first thing we need to do is create the tracks that we need. So I'm going to do one of each kind of group basically. So drum, percussion, guitar, keys, ambience, lead vocal, backing vocal, stereo vox are the ones that I do. So how many have I got there? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mono. And then I have a plus keys and ambience is stereo, and then the stereo vox, so that's 3 stereo vox, 3 stereo audio. Then I'm also going to think about my auxiliaries. I tend to separate my ambiences by groups because it helps me with my stems and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a drum, verb, an instrument, ambience, and then 3 vocal effects. So that's going to be 5 stereo auxiliaries. Then I'm just going to separate these for ease of explanation, but I could put them all together. I'm going to do another lot of auxiliary inputs. Now these are going to be my submixes. So I've got drums, bass, instrument, vocals, and then finally my mix bus submix. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 auxiliaries. And then finally I like to use a master fader. I put my metering there. It just keeps it clean. So there we go. Okay, so I have all of my tracks and they're all pretty, well, there's not much going on. So first of all, I've got to name everything. So let's just do this quickly. Double click, drum, command and right click to move through them. Percussion, what did I say? Guitar, lead vox, then PV, then I've got my 3 stereos, so that was keys, ambience I think I said, and then stereo vox, ST vox, cool. Now I've got my auxiliaries, so I said drum, verb, then instrument, ambience, then vox plate, vox del, and vox amp, which is generally a larger one. Then I go to my subgroups, so drum, oh, so that's right, okay, so drum sub, bass sub, instrument sub, vox sub, and mix bus. That's it. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to color these. We'll try and do this quickly. Drums, this is just my coloring. You do obviously what you want. Guitars are green, vocals are yellow, different yellow, these are pinky, and this is also yellow. Get these organized together, start to get them in the order that I like them. Now drum verb, I use a different color blue for this. Instrument ambience, again, kind of lighter shade of pink. Vox plate, these 3 in the right position. Label them, and then finally I go to my subs and I give those a different color. And my master fader is there. Good. Okay, so I've labeled everything. Now the next thing I need to do is to think about the routing and how everything's going to connect. So first of all, I want to go into my input and output area, and I'm going to the bus area, and you can see here I've named my buses the way I want them to be basically. So all of my submixes have got their own bus, and all of my reverbs, parallel reverbs, have all got their the buses are pre-named. So to do that, I would do new path stereo, call it new track or something, whatever. Okay, and then that will show up down here. Okay. Okay, but I don't want that, so I'm going to delete it. Okay, so now I need to connect everything. So let's see what I'm doing here. My mix bus is the only one that's going to be going out 1 and 2. So I want all of my subs to be routed to the mix bus. That's cool. Oops, and I have to do Shift and Option to apply that to everything at once. Okay, mix bus, mix bus, mix bus. Now I have to put the input to mix bus. Then I have to, in here, I have to set these to their different buses. Now I'm doing Shift, Option, Command, so that these are going to tier from one to the next. So voc, drum space, instrument box, good, that's done. Now all of these are going to be vocal ambience, where they're being sent to. Oh, sorry, the vocal sub. Good. These are my instrument sub. Good. This is also instrument sub. And then my drums. Go to the drum sub. Oh, I didn't create the bass. Just realized that there. Okay, so I forgot to do the bass. How could I forget that? So I'm going to duplicate this. There's nothing really going on, so I guess I can just create a duplicate. This is going to go to bass, sub, and I'm going to change its color. And its name. Cool, okay, looks good. Great, so I've got my input and output set up, my routing, my coloring, and my organization. Now what's next? The next thing I need to do is to create groups, which helps me I could also use VCA faders, but I like to use groups. I don't know, I guess I'm just old school. So I'm going to do Command G and say drum, then bass doesn't need one because it's by itself, guitar doesn't at the moment because it's by itself. But I mean, let's say that I actually have 3 basses. If I create, let's say I create a group that says bass, and then in the track that I'm mixing, I have 3 basses. If I right click and say duplicate, I can duplicate the group assignments. So then I don't, so I tend to, in my template, I have this set up as a group. So Command G, guitar, keys and ambience, Command G, inst, keys, let's say, then vocals, so you know the drill. Oops, I should have included all of these maybe. Edit that. So modify groups, modify vocals, and I want to add these in there. So add, good. Okay, and then my subs. I don't think I need to create a group for those. I could if I wanted, but I don't want to. Now something else really important that we need to do is we need to turn on safe solo for these groups, because otherwise they won't play. If I solo something else, these will not play. So that's important for the subgroups and you do that by hitting Command and hit the mouse click on the solo button. Okay, cool. So I've got all that stuff set up. Now the only thing I need to now is to think about my plugins. So I'm going to start from let's start from the beginning perhaps, and I'm going to put across all of my individual channels, I'm going to put a nonlinear summer, which I like to use. I mean, it's just my thing because I come from analog and I like analog. So, but it also has the effect that it works as a trim plugin. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. Where is it? Where is it? NLS. NLS. Cool. So now this is the channel. I'm not going to go into detail about why I do these. We can talk about that later if anyone is interested. Cool. Okay, so you can see here on each of these channels, they're all the same. Now, if I have any loudness issues, I can turn them down here. So it works as my trim, and it also, as I said, it's a non-linear summer. So deals with the issue of digital summing. Again, another topic for another time. Cool, so I've got that. Oh, I should put them over here as well. Now these ones need to go. What was it? Ooh, this time. Now I use these for the color. I could also use the VCA groups, but I'm not using them in this at this stage, so some of you might be wondering about that. Okay, then on the master bus, you have to use the bus version of it. Cool. Now the way that these set up, this should be the first on the master bus, and this should be the last plugin on the channels. So actually, I put that in the wrong place. I should select all of these and move them down. Does that work? Oh, that's annoying. Anyway, well, perhaps I'll have to do that later. Anyway, that's actually kind of annoying. Ugh. Anyway, maybe I should do it again. So the plugins, waves, NLS, channel. Cool. Okay, that's fast as well. And then I'm going to take them all off here. Okay. So now what comes next? The next things that I have all the time across this, so basically I should explain when I'm setting stuff up, I'm setting things up that I absolutely always use. So with my vocals and also my vocal ambiences, I always start with a low cut. So let's do that now. Cube. I'm just doing it on one because I'm going to copy it on the others. So this, bring it in, something like that. And then I'll copy that to this. However, the position is going to be a little bit different because on my ambience, I need to set these up as to which effect I'm going to be using. So yes, okay, so we need to do that. The other side of it is, I guess I'll do that now. So I mean, for me, again, it doesn't matter like what plate I'm going to use. It changes actually. I don't think I'm going to put that in because that's something that I'd like to decide based on listening. You know. What I do always do though is I have my VU meter. I have my my LUFS set to LUFS, and my sample peak. Where's that? Doro. Cool. Okay, so these are the different meters that I have. I have those on my master fader after all the processing. Then on my mix bus, I have a bus compressor dynamics, and I use, well, at the moment I use this quite a lot. And also what I tend to do is to put something, a kind of an EQ with character if I need to do any tonal balances at the end, which I kind of try not to do, but sometimes it happens, particularly when mixing things like EPs and albums. So I like Harrison EQs. I think they're very lovely and warm. So I have that, and I make sure that I mute it because I don't want to be hearing it unless I'm ready for it. my SSL bar, so I tend to kind of set this up at kind of like guide settings. That's kind of works for me. But I'll obviously have to go and check that, but that's, tends to be the way it works. Cool. And what else is there to do? So I've done my setups. The only thing that I haven't done is that I haven't set these reverbs. So I need to set the routing, drum reverb, instrument ambience, instrument verb. Now I'm going Shift Option Command again, so I can do these all at once. Short, del, and ambience. Good. Great. Okay, so I've got those routings set up, and probably what I'd do here would be with these, I'm going to create a send here for all of those. Vox. Short, yep. Turn them up. And then mute them because I haven't set up my plates or anything like that yet. So the same thing for the others. And final. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with my template. I think I've got everything that I wanted to do. I could continue to go and set the sends for each of these ambiences. Anyway, I don't need to show you that, but you get the idea. So now I have everything set up the way I like it, and I can bring in, drag and drop the tracks, or duplicate the tracks as needed when I get the mix in from a client. Okay, so that's that. I hope that's been useful or interesting for you. Oh no, there's one more thing I need to do. The most important thing probably, which is easy, but it needs to be discussed. So we need to save this as a template. So we say save as, hang on a second, save as template. And I have created a subcategory in the folder hierarchy of Pro Tools. You can save it wherever you want, but let's just say that. So I click OK. And now let's close out of this. I'm just going to say no and hope I did it correctly. I probably should save it, but it's fine. Okay, and then mix template 2. No, that's incorrect. Create new. And then I say create from template, mix template 2, and open. Don't save. Now it's going to ask me where I can, so this is now asking me to save my new file or something. So let's say Chris's mix project, whatever. And now I can see that it's going through and setting up all the tracks that I did. Taking its time. Great, okay, so here is my template set up. Thanks for watching.